It's just different.
Hopeless at one point and then having an opportunity to make you go harder, make you get in that booth and just really express that hopelessness. Like, man, y'all don't understand. This is like, you know what I mean? You dig from a different place. That bottom of your soul, that pit, homie, where you felt like the shit was, you know what I'm saying? You always wanted, but it looked like it was just not gonna happen.
Shit, in your mind it ain't gonna happen, shit, it probably won't. I took some risks, some people probably won't. That's how we're grateful for the fruits of all my labor. Hard to live and know you sick, I'd rather be with my creator, thinking time's up.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Four Insight Podcast. This is your host, Mike Obi.
It's your boy London Ogletree back for some more gems. What's up, man? How you been?
My guy. Hey, just one day, but today is a little bit different, man. It's a little bit different energy. Lots been going on. Life's busy as usual, but one day at a time, and we just trucking along. School, teaching, job, building projects, hustling out here. But it's all worth it, man. Everything's going good, healthy, feeling good. How about you?
Yeah, everything's slowing down for me. End of the year, work is slowing down tremendously. A lot of people out of the office. Um, Doing great in my bulk. I was down on it a little bit, but now I'm starting to eat a little healthier again. Numbers are going up, so I'm just looking at strength. So I can't complain, but we got a big day. So
Yeah.
it's our final finale of the
It's slow,
season.
man. Hey, 100 of them things, the century mark. 100 of them. So we got a lot to touch on for you guys today. This one might go a little bit long, but when you got a finale, you got to make sure that you finish on a high note. But one thing you did talk about is just bulk and eating healthy. And I think, I we're both kind of dealing with this with us being in the jobs we're in and taking on these different roles. I mean, it can get stressful. And so then naturally when you're dealing with stress, people tend to stress eat or the diet, or they try to pick up on food that they can get access to rather than, doing that, keeping that discipline. And I know Earn Your Leisure, shout out to them. They were talking about this on a recent clip of, there's people who are successful and who even wealthy. It's a lot of the people who listen to us, and a lot of our culture is geared towards wealth. You notice there's not a lot of wealthy people who are really that out of shape, if not, they're in shape, most of them. And I think that goes to discipline. So just first gem, just offer for everybody is just make sure that, y'all staying healthy out there. Make sure that you're protecting your temple, because that's what our bodies are. At the end of the
Right.
day, you fuel it the right way, it'll reward you. And I mean, I face that now more than ever, just understanding the prioritization of making sure I stay hydrated. I put the right things, because I mean, it's a lot of energy that you expend when you're busy.
And it's crazy. Something you said a lot of these people who are CEOs and they have their own companies and stuff, and they're they're big on eating healthy. And I was like, I can kind of see why, because like I was in my funk with the daylight savings and the time changing, and also just eating bad foods. I noticed when I started staying hydrated, like you said, drinking a gallon of water, a gallon and a half of water a day on top of the right foods, my energy automatically sparked back up, so I can do those long days like such and such that we have to do, like stay up for coaching, teaching, and make sure we go to the office, then go to the gym and come home and cook. And so I've started to have the energy. Whereas if I was eating like a Chick-fil-A breakfast or McDonald's breakfast or something, I would already start my day with a sluggish day and it was going downhill. So I was like, let me start it off with like some good juice and clear my body. So that's kind of the gem I give everybody, is like start your day off with it. I picked up on coffee bad. I didn't used to like coffee. Now it's almost to a point where I cannot just not drink coffee. So now I'm on the coffee wave,
Ugh.
and the juicing and detoxing my body.
See, I'm all for the detoxing and stuff, because you want to flush all that out. But I was never into coffee. I'm still not into coffee. I get criticized for that now, not being a Starbucks, snob or whatever the case may be. But it's just one thing is what you did say though, just to make sure we hone this point home is just being able to really put the right things in your body. I remember like my main thing was I go get kolaches because it was easy to get on the way to work. But then you talk about a sluggish day. And see, I should have learned that lesson. I remember talking about this in high school. Like when we had that episode, we talked about getting in the gym. I remember when I was in high school, every now and again I mess up and go get donuts. And it's night and day how my body felt versus when I cut all that stuff out. So I mean, literally, just the way that it can affect your day if you started off the wrong way. And like, the days when I'd have my gallon of water ready and I'd fill it up and everything. Like, first off, my kids at my school, they laugh, or they're like, "Coach, you drink a gallon of water? You drink that whole thing?" I'm like, I have no choice. I have to. And I don't see how y'all don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because you learn that you have to build that discipline and you have to stay hydrated in order to maintain your energy level. So definitely. So,
It's crazy. Water is honestly like, you know how we take, have you ever taken pre-workout?
yep.
So I think if you have the right amount of water, you almost don't even need pre-workout when you work out. And that's why I'm like, maybe this is what they mean by water so important. Because if I drink a true gallon or a gallon and a half, my whole energy of just like being up and ready to move is because I drunk that water. And I'm like, wow, water's that important. You can tell when you lack water.
Yeah, and definitely. But that's not to belabor the whole point home. I mean, again, we'll have many of episodes to talk about all nutrition and things of that nature. But just to get into the whole swing of things, I mean, obviously, we appreciate, like we always do, all of you guys who listen and tune into us. Again, you could be listening to anything. You can spend your time however you want to, but you chose to give us your time. So for that, our highest gratitude. And then just El, we've been at this. I've been at this for 2 years. I know this is your first year doing it, but just we finally made it to the end of the season, and I think it's just important for us to express our gratitude, like we always do, of the highest order for getting to this point. Just as we look back at kind of where we've gone in the previous episodes, I mean, what's been your take on all the stuff we've talked about, and what has happened in season 2?
For me, I just want to say like this, I just wanted to start like a podcast since I've been little. Like I was always good at communicating. I was always good at telling a story and like talking about all my friends that were girls or guys or whatever always called me like Dr. Phil or like Dr. L or whatever, because I don't know if it just sounds like I was just more like advanced or I just was hitting good points, but I was just always giving out good facts. And I was like, I should make a podcast. So my only fear was I've always sucked at like speech. Like I'd never want to take speech classes or talk in front of the thing. But once I got into sales as my career, it was just easy for me to kind of just naturally get on these things. I was like, okay, now when I met you, it was like, okay, now it's time. You can't be scared no more. You can't be intimidated to get in front of the camera and talk about something that's important that people around the world will actually like. So once I did that, I got over this fear, and I'm just kind of thankful for all the people who have come to us in this like short period of time and be like, man, we like what you talked about. I'm dating this girl, I'm dating this guy, whatever. And how do I go about this? A lot of people, numerous people wants to come on the episode for season 2. I have a lot of DMs that like requests from people I don't even know, like, well, I would love to kind of get into, see if you can have an episode. So it's like a lot of people will get down on not getting that growth like super quick, but we know we have 2 people that are on the show, me and you, that know that it's a journey, it's a process, and that's something that me and you don't even let other people get us out of our lane. And I just gotta say, I gotta thank you. I gotta thank everybody come that's around us that just made me kind of confident now. Now we got the confidence. Now we have the chemistry where we can bounce off each other, and we don't even really have to do it. So I'm curious to see how season 2 is in a new studio and with some chairs and some seats with some microphones and the whole 9. We're gonna make this even funner in season 2.
Well, definitely. I mean, for me, so I started this back in 2020. It's crazy looking back at even those episodes, and I was looking at the archive in the library. I mean, I I was always the type like I was like, man, I've been an introvert largely, and I have a lot of introverted tendencies, But it's crazy you talk about Dr. Phil and people associating that with you, and people look at my mind and they're like, you have like 90% Dr. Phil in you. As far I'm like, what do you mean by that? You like to ask questions and you think like 12 levels ahead, and so you be good at this whole like therapist psychology stuff. And so for me, I just like asking questions. I like conversating with people. I mean, that's kind of the whole premise on what this was about, was just opening the conversation and having a dialogue, because I mean, a lot of society didn't have that ability to do that. And so then I started that first year, did that. And then, first thing, even coming back for season 2, when I did this after the first year, like after the first year, honestly, it was like I did that. That was another thing I could check off the tool belt. and I was ready to, try something else. And then it took people like, hey, you did that podcast last year. Are you gonna bring it back? Like it was that whole thing of opening that back up. I'm like, okay, there's a demand for it, kind of, you know what I'm saying? So then, shout out to my guy Max, Mallory, Avion, J Fan, and Jordan, and the homie Jessica, like them being my first guests on season 2, and they came with some heat. Like I was like, God damn, this is good. Like to start off, and so then that just kept me motivated to like, I got something good, and I got better, and then the guests are getting better. So that kept me motivated to at least keep on, reaching out to people, meeting people, mingling, and breaking those tendencies. And then, one thing I always talk about is I try to give people the game through letting them hear other people's stories. And one thing that happened early on was when I had Jay Fan on, one of my old mentors was listening to the show. I didn't even know he listened like to the degree he was. And he calls me and he was like, Mike, I was listening to y'all's podcast, that one episode, and now he was like, I'm motivated to start my own podcast now. And he's done it. He started his own. Shout out to
Right.
Coach Kovo. And guys, I would say for any teachers or coaches out there, check out Team Player Podcast. That's the one my mentor, my old coach, my old defense coordinator, he started that up and he's killing it. He is great. And that is a really, really, really good listen for anybody who is into the coaching space or any parents who want to, get an insight into coaches. That's a great podcast. And so he started off doing that and he was a natural at it. And now I look at what he's done. I think, hosts 4 now, all because he just took that leap of faith. He listened to my show, my small show, and that he tells me like that motivated me to start that whole thing. So it's little stuff like that of like, that's why I do this, is just to motivate people to, take on the challenges that they may be hesitant to take on, just like I did, just like I was.
Yeah, that's something that I'm waiting for because I think I was out of town when you had the episode with Max and his girlfriend,
Mhm.
and that's something I was like, I did the one with Jordan. I did the one with Jordan. That was a good episode, and for me, that was a fear of mine because I was like, I've never. That was at the time where I didn't know how to bounce off questions to people, and I was like, let me come out there on my own and kind of get off my like scary mode and kind of just do it. So for me, that opened up something. So I can't wait. And I think another fear that'll be for us is kind of being in the room, which I
Mhm.
don't think I'll be afraid because I do it for a living. But like it's going to be something new, and that's something like when it's new, it's going to be a little like butterflies. I still get butterflies when I go into meetings or I go host a big meeting or talk to customers in like my corporate world. So it's like you're always gonna get those butterflies. But I think now that we're so good at communicating and grown, it's easy for us to kind of get out them butterflies quicker than I think everybody gets butterflies at some point.
Yeah, 100%. If there's anything I realize with doing this and just in tackling goals, like it's gonna be uncomfortable, but you're gonna get through it if you keep on working at it. You know what I'm saying? It was uncomfortable for me even getting on a camera and speaking. And now I done tackled that. I'm blowing out the water. Now it's just okay, what's the next step in the development? It's like all these conversations that I have in real time in person. Now you just bring it to a room and you just open it up. And people have done it, so therefore you can do it again. You feel me? That's the main thing for me that I look at. It's like it's a challenge, but it's a good and it's a healthy challenge that's gonna make us better and it's gonna help grow the show going forward. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
gonna help the product and it's gonna help more people get access to it. So for me, as long as we understand what we're trying to strive for, it'll be great for us in the long run. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the archive, we're looking at it. I mean, we talked about a lot. We talked about dating, we talked about career. I'd say that the first half of us was kind of just talking about what we were noticing in dating and relationships and kind of our mindsets, our approaches, and our values. And then as we, honestly, we're going through the year and kind of going through our experiences, going through jobs, I think our evolution was kind of getting played out in real time. And it was honestly cool to see like how much different we are even now from February, which we talked about last week. So just on that, like looking at all the stuff we talked about, is there a moment or is there a particular episode that maybe you enjoyed the most or anything of that nature that maybe you want to hone in on?
We've had credits to you. Let me start off with that. Like he puts together some of the best topics to talk about, and I come here and just give my gems, and so he makes this shit move far. But to go into that is just my favorite episode. I'm not even gonna pick what my favorite episode is, but I'm gonna say we've had so many different topics that I think that we bring. I think where we started elevating was when we started adding the relationships into real life
Yeah.
conversations. I think we wasn't just it was good to start the dating, and then I think we didn't want to over drown it and get boring with it. So we did a little bit of dating and wrap it around with life. How can you wrap those two together, and how can men and women correlate together to make each other happy, and how can we make friends happy, etc., family, whatever. I think we put everything into one. I think that's something that I think that we did really well in this season one, and just I think we made a lane for something. I think we don't, if we disagree with something, we don't bash it. Like we just give our opinions and we kind of just put our 2 cents in. But I think we do it in a healthy way, and I think that's kind of, we kept it authentic and we kept it real, and that's the reason why I wanted to make a podcast, because I didn't think nobody was as authentic and real as me, because every time I watch a podcast from somebody else, I've always had questions. I'm like, well, I would have said it like this. I was like, well, if I have something to say all the time, how about just make it myself?
That's
So that's
it.
kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, and everybody has a niche. Like that's the main thing. Like I hear this whole thing floating around social media is like not everybody needs a podcast and not everybody should be given a platform. The way I look at it is not, you don't need to listen to everything if your mind can't handle it. That's the way. That's my rebuttal. And maybe that's a way to be. But it's like at the end of the day, if you have your own individuality, it doesn't matter what anybody else says because you know what you feel, you know what you think is kind of my mindset and my motto right now. Obviously, people can be influenced easier than others, and maybe there's like when people ask me, "Well, what's your take on this show, that show, that show?" It's like, hey, at the end of the day, there's always good and bad to anything. You just have to be able to sift through it and find the value and extract the bullshit from it. And I think from there, if you have that mindset and that, because there's a level of entertainment that goes into a podcast, there's a level of knowledge, there's a level of wisdom, and there's a level of people have to resonate with what you're saying, right? And that's just the thing. Like when you're trying to build your audience up, some people are better at it than others. So for me, I don't try to look at things as a hater. I just look at it and say, hey, look, this is the reason that platform is what they are. This is the reason why people like that one more than they are, rather than saying somebody shouldn't be given the credibility. But for me, I was noticing as we were going along and as I was having these conversations, I'm always trying to come up with solutions rather than acknowledge problems and hone in on problems. I'm like, okay, what really is happening, or what is the problem that I'm noticing the most? And I just was like, from what it seems, is just there was a lack of communication and a lack of understanding the other side. Because really, truly, I was talking to our friend Trey about this. Is that I was talking to our friend Trey and another person I met. I feel like men and women, we all want the same thing. Everybody wants a partner and everybody wants a marriage. I mean, that's what we're wired to do. That's what we're wired to have. But people don't know how to go about having that in a healthy manner anymore. Whether that could be from the abundance of single parent households where people aren't seeing healthy relationships being manifested and cultivated, that much. They're thinking maybe the only way to have a healthy relationship is to have a toxic or a dysfunctional relationship. So I'm like, no, at the end of the day, speaking from a male's perspective, this is what we think. And then when I interact with women, I'm always trying to ask, okay, well, what would you think about this? What do you think about that? Okay, what is your mindset on that? And then from there, when I get that real time back and forth of, okay, I get that, and that's a fair point, then I'm able to come back here and then I can pose these questions. And that's a lot of the way my mind works, is not to bash or to insinuate or to criticize. It's about understanding. So I think that's what we've been trying to carve out, and it's kind of worked for us in our realm.
Right. I think painting a picture to somebody, just to kind of
That's it.
dumb it down. If you can paint a picture to somebody and make them understand without you yelling or coming off as like trying to make them come out and say it, just like, I said this and I'm right. And if you paint a picture and just paint the narrative where they can understand it and just be relaxing about it, they will kind of naturally, a person would defer and be like, you know what, you make sense. Like, even if I don't make sense, let me just step away from it. The conversation, come back, we could talk with it. That could be in work, that can be relationships, that can be with parents, that can be anything, and you can just do it. But a lot of people just don't know how to communicate, and that's the problem. And that's really all it is.
Yeah, and then like the last thing I'll say is that it's something where I've been told recently with me doing the podcast and interacting with people, learning how to not be an introvert. people tell me, and honestly makes me feel good. I try not to overblow things, but it's like, you really have a lot to say, and your mindset is good. You need to talk more. Like, and I'm like, I don't like bothering people. Nah, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'll just speak when I'm supposed to. They're like, nah, you can't do that. If you're gonna have a gift, you can't hold it back. And so then that's where it's like, okay, fine. When it has that, that's why I take pride in having this platform where when I'm gonna speak, it's gonna be here, and I try to talk about anything. And then one thing I was told was like the way I communicate, it's easy to digest because you don't go at people, right? And we had this conversation last week. And so then for me, it's like, well, yeah, I can agree with that because that's not what I'm about. If you try to go at somebody, you're naturally going to make them offended and you're going to put them on the defensive. And so I think that it's just, if anybody takes anything from the way I communicate, it's just, there's a way to have healthy back and forth in conversation. It's okay to disagree, but you should always do it in respect and with reverence. And from there, you'll get the gem and the genesis. That's
Yeah,
my
absolutely.
all right. So now my question to you, L, is focusing on yourself, is that what has your experience been as a first year podcast? What has it been like? I mean, obviously you've talked about how you've changed and how you've grown, but just for you, I mean, have you enjoyed it? Is it fun? Or, how has it changed as far as you in life and things of that nature?
Something you said earlier in this episode, you said we can see the change and growth within us in real life. And you said it's kind of cool to see. I think this podcast has been very therapeutic to me. I never thought I needed therapy because of just that's how we was raised as being African Americans. Like something gets hard, we just figure it out. But I think what I programmed myself to do growing up is very just I can vent with myself. I can acknowledge when I do something wrong, and I can kind of make sure myself is up to speed for the next day and the next week to keep going in my life. I think doing this podcast, it's made me be able to interact with people face to face better. Like if I have a conversation, when I'm in my meetings, I can hold my meetings and construct the whole meeting with how many ever people's in the meeting. I've just everything just elevated. Like my concerns on life doesn't matter as much as they used to. I used to want to go out when we first started. I used to always get off the podcast with you like, hey, what we doing after this? Like, are we going here? You would tell me you might be doing something, whatever, and I'd be like, all right, we'll come over. Now it's like we out here trying to just make money and get to the top. So we can come back to the drawing table and say, all right, Obi, all right, London, let's go to Vegas now. Let's go to Miami now. Now we might have a girl. I have a girl, and again, you might get a girl, and then eventually then we all can buy, hey, we all gonna meet up in couples. My friends, your friends, let's all do that, or just whatever, whoever's single, whatever, still come. Now I think we're at that point in life now. We've got the Houston nightlife. We've did it plenty of times. Now it's like we want to go travel and do stuff, and that's fun for us now. So I think our vision is just different now, and I think I just owe that to the podcast because I was thinking completely different.
And I love what you said though, is our worldview has changed because it was like you used to think of it just as a local thing. And like even for me, I think that still has been good, me getting to know my city again because even though I grew up here forever, I feel like I just really started to see just how big and how wide and how much like opportunity was here in the city. But now it's like, yeah, but that's kind of old now that I've done that. Now it's about getting to bigger and better. You know what I'm saying? And always being able to maintain the growth mindset because with that, you're only gonna get more opportunities. The percentage, you'll only start to magnify your impact. And so I think that's where we're at now is really trying to be the manifestation of the change that we're trying to get other people to see. It's like, look at where we started and look at where we got to. And if we can do it, then anybody else can do it.
A lot of people tell me I get this in the gym. There's some people I'm like cordial with, like somebody might come and say, man, you're just really mellow in the gym now. And I'm like, I used to be like, I've always been a mellow person, but I was putting my focus into some things. And when I first went to that gym that I shouldn't have, but just like you wanted to have fun a little bit. And then now I'm just like, I really don't care what's around me. I'm just here so I get a good workout, go home and go to sleep so I can keep going to get this money. That's just really my focus. Friends, family, money, and being happy. Peace.
That's what's up. I mean, me and then I'll talk about my other parts at the end, but I think we have honed in on a few key elements of life. First and foremost being social media, right? And its impact on our culture now. Has your perception on social media changed as you evolve or as part of your maturation, or do you think it's still the same thing as it was? As far as you still see it as a negative and as a detriment. What would you say?
Tremendously. It's changed now. I look at it for what it's worth. I know what social media brings. Like now, I don't get mad at it. Like I know it brings drama. I know it brings like somebody said something. I was looking at their story. They was like, we're all out here searching for attention. Technically, you are. When they said that, I was like, you are searching everybody who does post it because you're trying to get somebody to build a fan base from it. But at the same time, it's like it does bring like revenue. It does bring relationships. It does bring networking. It does bring all those things. But the downside of it, I just took out all the necessary drama infested that came with it. Like now I used to like I might want to go look around on Instagram. I don't really scroll through Instagram no more. I don't really go look at other people's pages no more. I don't really look through stories too much no more. I post what I gotta post and I get off of social media. So if you can just get your stuff out there like you still want to and don't be engaged with other people, like the people that you do like, maybe comment on their page and throw out like a fire emoji, like keep going, whatever, and get off. Like I'm not on there just like this is something that also happened with me that I like every week or every Sunday I get a notification saying your phone you viewed your phone percentage has been down like 15% this week. It's been doing that for like the last 4 months. I'm like, I just don't be on my phone too much. That means I'm just not getting that visual of the phone time that we need because we forget that real life is outside still.
Yeah. I love that. I love that quote. Real life is still outside, or real life is held off screen. You feel me? And I think that's the
Hmm.
main thing. Like, it's crazy that you also have had that level of percentage drop off. It's the same with me. Like, especially in the like, that's I think the biggest thing is that it used to be. I used to just have the time to scroll through social media all day. I'm like, the way life is gone, the way my mind works now. I'm really not on so I'm not on my phone a whole lot throughout the course of the day, let alone social media. Like if I am on there, it's literally to okay, I need to text this person this, and I need to let them know. I need to let London know what time the meeting is. I need to send them the script. I need to contact this person to let them know what this means. You know what I'm saying? Or it's to call somebody who I need to contact. Other than that, I mean, I really stay off my phone, because for me, it's better for my mental and literally you live a lifestyle that you're so busy that like I lose track of the time of day. I'm like, dang, we're already in December. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way life has been. But the thing is, I mean, it's all I want to say fun, but it's just somewhere I just realize this is what it has to be done. You know what I'm saying? And I'm locked in on the journey because I chose to do it and embark on it. And I think that's what gives us that level of pride now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. Now now this next part. How do you see dating and relationships? First part of the question, and then I have a second part. Just obviously you have a girlfriend now, so we would assume that it's changed, but just even your perception on men and women and our interactions, how do you think that's evolved for you or for both of us? What would you say?
Um, I'd be looking at stuff like a grown like I'm 60 now. I gotta stop it. That's my problem. I'm like London, come back. Like you didn't grow up that much in this amount of time. So I gotta sometimes like, okay, you're still 26. But I do think a lot of people, this is a touchy conversation right here. So I do think a lot of men and women want a relationship. And what I've noticed about my relationship is there's a lot of women, there's a lot of men who see that somebody could be happy and they want to break that up. That's what I see.
Goodness.
Uh on both ends of it. It's like I think this is why I think cheating and stepping out of your relationship gets tricky. It's like it's I have noticed like because I told you I've messed up in my past because that's what we talked about in the beginning. I've talked about me messing up my past with my ex and all this, and now it's like now I'm doing everything the right way. You see it and you see like okay, more women want you more when you're in a relationship and you're being honest. It's to me the most bizarre, sickest thing I've ever seen. But it comes with it. But that's when your faith is tested by if you're gonna hold it down, vice versa. So for me, I just think people got to be more solid, and I think that's when the solid piece comes in is if you can curve them, but you gotta realize that people aren't gonna respect your relationship. That's all I kind of can get from it. But like you have to stay 10 toes with it and not step out on your relationship. But it comes with the territory. I don't know if that's a age thing since we're young, because I don't be seeing like 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds do it. So I don't know if I'll have to have another answer. I'm sure we'll mature again. Um, and I would love to see like, dang, it still happens at the age of 50 and 40. Do you think it still happens at 40 or 50? Or you think it's just the 20 and 30 living your best life? Like, oh, if she don't care, if she don't care about her boyfriend, then I don't care about him, so I'm just gonna keep doing that.
Huh. Well, first of all, I like the point you brought up. I mean, this is really interesting. It's a great point. But to answer the first part of the question, do I think it happens at 40, 50? I think it happens at any age, at any time, but it may not be to the first off, it's not going to be as much as people get older because people mature and people go through things. But you still have those ones who still think that they're young or still have not matured or grown up. One, or I mean, people are like at the end of the day, we're still men and women. You know what I'm saying? No, how old you are is just different, and I think what goes into it is people probably factor more. It's harder. Like if I'm gonna choose to step out, it's harder for you to replace that partner as it is when you're young and when you still have your prime and you still have the whole world and your whole life again ahead of you. You know, they usually use that argument, towards women is like, while woman's young and she's beautiful and she still has her body and her figure, it's easier for her to step out. But then as a woman starts to age, and and it's the same thing with men too. But as people start to age, then it becomes much harder for them to step out and to be unfaithful. I mean, like for me, I think the one part about me, this is honestly a interesting component of my personality that gets tested from time to time is like while I have not cheated in the past or while I've not done that, I'm of the mindset I don't expect people to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the way I'm wired. I'm like,
You
yeah,
should
I
let
might,
that.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think you should.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just like the way I am. I'm me and I'm Mike, but I can't expect everyone to be like me. You know what I'm saying? Like realistically. So when I see people step out, I'm like, okay, that was their decision. And when someone's like, oh, how do you feel about people who step out? I'm like, that's not what I do. And I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. But at the end of the day, that's not on me to judge. That's on that partner to judge. Is that something you can handle or not? Is that something that's a deal breaker for you or not? Those are the questions I ask. I'm not the person who tries to bestow my moral compass on other people's because everybody's different because everybody sees things a different way. People have different tolerance levels, right? But thing with me is one thing you said was like I kind of am wired as someone who's much older, because like I've had all those influences, I kind of already been able to get a sneak peek on what it's supposed to look like down the line. So for me, I'm like, that's how I'm wired to think. So all the young childishness that a lot of us go through, I'm like, I see how that leads, and a lot of that is empty. So I'm trying to find something worth having, worth building, and worth fulfilling. And that's why even I'm selective on the type of people I choose to meet with, the type of women I choose to be around. Like it's not easy. And that doesn't mean I think I'm better. I just know what I'm looking for, and I'm firm on it. Is my main thing. I
Yeah.
always try to argue. I'm not one to say I'm perfect because I know I'm not, but I need someone who understands my imperfections and is willing to work with that, and someone whose imperfections I'm willing to work with, and we can make each other better. That's how I feel like relationships are supposed to be, and that's the beauty of building a partnership in the right way. Is that you guys are working and you guys are complements together, and you guys help build each other up.
Yeah, that is maturity, kind of how you worded all that. Like, I don't know if a lot of people would say that at our age, and kind of that just comes from like you said, learning experience and just going off and trial and error. Like we probably made mistakes in different places at like earlier this year or the year before, but now like it's kind of hard for us to hit our head twice. Like once I hit my
Yeah,
head, I'm like, okay, you ain't got to tell me but once. I can
exactly.
figure this out after that. So that's kind of how that's why we're so good. We're not gonna keep messing up 2 or 3, 4 times. So we're gonna just learn once. So
Yeah, that and then I think we both have our own individuality as far as like we're not followers in terms of like people get a lot of bad information where it's like, well, yeah, but this person says that you shouldn't be complimented that people aren't meant to be. I'm like, yeah, well, that's their mindset. That's not how I think. Now, obviously, I understand what comes with what I think or how I am. Right? Not everyone's for that, but the thing is, this works for me, and I'm willing to change if I see a better way of doing things. The same for London. So like me and your dynamic, the way we are, we always have a good back and forth of, okay, you have your way, this is my way. Let's see, what are we noticing? Is our way working or not? And so far it has. So that's where we can take pride in that.
Hmm.
All right, so then for me and from my mindset is going to, what do you think we can bring as far as the whole dating and relationship conversation? While we started it and it was good this year, I feel like season 3 we still got to expand upon it. So how do you think we can go about it, or what do you think we're looking to do going forward, in your opinion?
With us being like overachievers, I think something that I've picked up on is just like rap music, anything like TV, whatever, YouTube videos. We have to make things in like shorter like times, dosage of times, because people's attention spans aren't as well as it used to be because we have TikToks and things like that, which is fine. But I think what we have to bring is to keep that focus. I think we need to bring in like a studio, and I think we have some good topics that we talked on because we have a lot of people with feedback. Now, I think more people want to see like visuals of like us sitting down on couches and bringing in maybe 4 or 5 women, 4 or 5 men to kind of bring 2 or 3 questions from season 2 that we did this year into season 3 and say, well, how do you guys think that we did on this one? On top of it, have some fan questions come in and be like, well, this topic came up from this and this week. How do you feel about this? And then somebody could say, well, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that. Now that gives our audience a viewpoint of just like, okay, we're not just getting Obi and London standpoint. We've got that all last season. We know that y'all like this. We know y'all like that. Now we're getting other people's. Now they're going to say, bring on this person again. We like this person. Bring on that person. We like that person. So I think that's going to be for a concrete, I think that's going to be a complete change and just a nice environment. I kind of want to bring the fun into it, laughing. Maybe when time comes, I don't know, have like music or something in the back, and it can get fun over time. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff I think we can do with it.
That, and also and for me, I'm always gonna go and pay homage to the OGs. I feel like bringing them on too. Like, I mean, I'm not saying just dating gurus and dating coaches, but just like some, whether it's family, like I know, it would be interesting. I feel like our dynamic, even bring my dad on and things of that nature, and like getting him to do it because I mean he's spoken before, what I'm saying, and just having like people who raised you and like them who've been married and like them who've had relationships kind of play out like, hey, what was it that enabled you guys to work? Now, instead of me just talking about it from a second hand, now you get to hear from them firsthand. Now you get to see, okay, what is it that you guys see in young people that is a problem or not a problem? Or what do you think we need to do? What do you think we're missing? What is it that you guys had that we don't? And then like, what I'm saying? Just get that OG viewpoint, because the fact of the matter is they'll always be able to bring things in perspective if you are able to listen. You know what I'm saying? So I think stuff like that where we can kind of diversify it, where we have both the young and the young minds coming together with the new minds and us being able to kind of learn from one another. You know what I'm saying? Right. And us being able to bring, like, hey, these are what we're going through at this time. How did y'all go through it? Or what would y'all do? Like, obviously, we're gonna put our spin on it. You know what I'm saying? Being that we're going through it, but I think that would be a great dynamic to see. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
All right. So now, you see, I was asked this next part. And this one's gonna be a little interesting. A friend of mine, with us being at 100 episodes, he was like, "What kind of energy is that made you guys walk with?" I know you talk about our confidence and how people at the gym kind of are like, "Yo, we see how you guys are moving different," but just do you feel like your energy's changed? Do you feel like people notice it? Do you feel like you're attracting, whether that's women, whether that's people to you, or do you think you're having a bit of a force now? I mean, I don't know whether that makes sense, but it's just like that was an interesting question. I was like, I mean, if you ask me, I'm not the type to speak too highly on myself. So I'm like, maybe that'd be something where we could pose it and kind of see what that can entail. What do you think?
Yeah, I just talked about me being real on this show, so I gotta be real. It might come off as, I don't know, take it how you take it. It's for me. It's funny you said. I was just talking about this 2 days ago. Actually, I said I bring a villain energy now. That is, I don't mean it to do that. I just.
What do you mean to a villain energy? That's what I want to know.
I have to do that now because like I told myself, I said my number one priority is my girlfriend now. So some certain things don't sit comfortable with her. I do have to respect her, vice versa. But at the same time, I know how men are. So I know if you put yourself into a situation and be like, okay, I just want to be around this person it might make that energy open up like, oh, it might be welcoming to talk to her or talk to him. I don't even want that. So I just eliminate myself from a lot of situations, and it might come off as I'm mean, but like I like talking to more guys than like girls, of course, now there. But like, so it's like if it's a guy that I've never seen, he's like, are you using this, bro? I'm like, no. And then we might chop up a conversation. I keep it cordial, but I'm not. I think we go to the gym because that's a gym to make friends. Sad to say, I'm not really there to make friends, but
Mhm.
like I'm just there to have a good lift and a good environment. And I think that is the best gym I've ever been to in my life. So it's like I don't want to stop going to it, but I just think I'm at an age now where I already have my circle of friends. I'm not really reaching out to get more friends. But I am cool with associating with people. So I don't know how, but I think my energy just matured a lot.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah,
know how.
that's
I guess
good.
you can maybe call it a villain energy. I don't know, but like some people might say like he's like a dick, but I'm not. I just I just don't care to really associate with you as much as I used to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
Like
that. I think naturally you start to you grow and you realize like not everybody can stay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I mean, for me, I would just say like I became almost obsessive on, achieving the goals that I wanted to achieve. You know what I'm saying? So when I talk to people, it's like I tell them about certain projects and I know like some people hear what I have to say and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll see. And like they don't really believe what I'm saying. And so then that's where like for me it's not a villain energy, but it's like a obsession. It's like I'm obsessed with trying to be successful and trying to prove myself right more than anything. Right. And in that, I'm like you always talk about like Mike, you look so serious, you look so locked in. It's like because I'm always thinking about achieving the next thing. Like I'm like, bro, like I'm trying to really make this shit happen, make this dream become a reality. Not just because for me it's mine, and it's my name, it's my namesake on it. For me, that's the main thing. Like the more I put myself out there, like I've been able to earn more opportunities. People are asking and relying on me, like, hey, what do you think about this? Especially with the fragrance stuff. The fragrance stuff is like it's become something where that's where people want to come to me and ask me about it. It's like, hey, what do you have today? Hey, can you help me with this? What do you think about that? So for me, it makes me feel good that I'm actually having an impact, you know what I'm saying? And people are recognizing like one of my passions. So that's what I would say about it. But, I think the thing with me, why I don't really care about having enemies is because I already am of the mindset. I don't expect people to like me. I don't expect people to do the right thing just because most like I don't bother people, and in turn, I don't want people to bother me. And so with that, the people who do want me around, they'll put in the effort. You know what I'm saying? And the people who don't, that's okay. The people who and like, I think an unfortunate thing that has happened is I've already been the person who's dealt with people where it's like they were above me, and then when you start getting things to happen for you, now all of a sudden they start to get envious and they want to put you down or they want to alienate you. So because I've already had that happen to me once before in a past life, it's like I understand people are capable of doing that, and because of that, I walk with a little bit of distance. I've talked about having a guard up. That's part of the reason why I don't like always sharing what I have going on, but it's something I've had to learn how to overcome. And with what I'm trying to do now, I'm like, okay, this is something you're gonna have to do again. Just learn that you're doing the right thing and understand that, and then just keep on doing what you're doing.
yeah. Y'all take what Obi said. Scratch what I said. I said something similar, but he worded his better. So let's go with that one. That was better. That was
that
better.
that long-winded soliloquy ran whatever, but bottom line, just keep on doing what you do and do it the right way. That's all I got. But now just looking at current day, we've talked about all the stuff we've talked about in the past. Now where we are now, look at our current goals, what we're trying to achieve. Not just, I mean, just what are we trying to achieve now? What are you trying to achieve now? Where's your mindset at, and what are you looking to go for? Going forward.
I've always had these goals on my list, and I think that's why I've been ahead of my time. But it always was a dream. Now it's achievable. Now it's like you just got to go get it at this point. Now it's like, oh, you basically prayed for all this. You basically asked for all this. Now I'm gonna see how much you really want it. So now something I want to do on a personal level. I'm trying to get into real estate and get my first rental property. I'm looking into doing a couple of those, and also I'm working on getting my own house um, for another rental property for investment. So I'm trying to get at least 2 rental properties in the next 2 years. On top of that, I'm still in the stock market, this and this. I got to increase, as everybody's heard on my previous episodes, that I'm doing really good. Maybe get into another elevation in my role. But other than that, I think I want to start with those. Make sure the podcast. That's probably one of my main priorities outside of work and fitness. Um, Getting this podcast up into a whole different stratosphere of like getting a new studio, making sure it looks nice, making sure we can afford it, making sure we can do everything right to make sure that we put ourselves in the best situations to be successful. So I think after this episode, and that's why we love that we're going to take this one, take some time into this episode. We're going to take some time off to get the best material so we can put the best stuff, our best product out going forward.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and I've told London about all the stuff really. He knows us a lot, but just for the sake of being transparent, first and foremost thing I'll share is that I haven't shared this anyways. This is kind of a sneak preview, but I'm first and foremost starting a fragrance line coming next year. If you don't go to Alpha Land, you really don't know. But yeah, anybody who's listening, starting my fragrance line next year with one of my business partners. I'm now trying to take my passion and turn it into a reality and into my business. That's part of me building my legacy. Obviously, I want to build Foresight into another thing where it's a bigger stratosphere, it's a bigger network, it's a bigger platform for more people to get a hold of and get a hold of this whole library. It's 100 episodes, full of gems, in my opinion. So building that and then just becoming the best individual, well-rounded individual to where I have all the tools I need to be able to help inspire people and help people on, a growth level is what I've always been striving for. So my current goals is still a matter and a work in progress to building my long-term goals and my legacy, put simply.
You've been really explaining your stuff really good today. I'm listening. Okay. See, I told y'all he's very articulate, y'all. That's definitely an achievement that you got under your belt.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's starting a business, man. It's not been easy. It's not been easy, and it's a scary thing. But as it gets closer and closer, as launch day gets closer, and as people are constantly like testing out the product and telling me like how excited they are for me and for it to happen, it's like, dang, like this shit is really happening. Who would have thought? Like at the beginning of the year, first I was just doing this fragrance stuff just as means to collect it. Now you starting a business up, and you're starting your own little thing, and it's yours. It's like it's a different way you walk. And so for me, I just want to be able to say I tried everything and I did it my way. And I mean, it's a great pride. I'm blessed and fortunate that I've been able to be put in these situations, and I had people around me to push me to do it. I think that's the main thing that I pay homage to them. A lot of the stuff that has happened is, yes, my work, but also people who believe in me and have gotten me out of my comfort zone. So for me, that's where I don't mind sharing these things, because it's like it's a lot of people who helped me get to this point.
Right.
All right. Then we get on to the next getting on now playing. What seasons to come? I mean, because it's not just gonna stop at 3, but this season to come, we've kind of elaborated on it, new guests, new conversations, new settings, new studios. I mean, the main thing is, we're just trying to build on this from here and try to elaborate on a lot of the conversations. Definitely bring their perspective, and just being able to show and highlight like these conversations can be had and should be had, and we can do them in the right way. It's not about calling a guy a misogynist because he has a certain traditional value, or calling a woman or whatever the word you want to use. It's like, look, we all have our opinions, we all have what we want, and it's about being able to hear each other out and find out what works for you, and then you find your partner, and everybody tries to build their legacy, build their family up, because that's what we should be built on. I'm saying? The single parent home is just destructive, and it doesn't help the kid, it doesn't help nobody's legacy at the end of the day. My mentality. And just being able to sell, we all can eat. I mean, London has said that before. There's enough out here for us all to eat and for us all to be successful and be able to live good lives. So that's the thing, and that's the culture we're trying to manifest here, in my opinion. What you got, El?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think you explained everything, but just to tap on what I said is there's enough money, there's enough women, there's enough men, there's enough love, friendships out there for everybody. And we gotta just stop having hatred in our hearts, and we gotta don't be mad because somebody got it before you. Cheer them on. Know your time is coming. Don't fake laugh in somebody's face and to be like, oh, I'm so happy for you in the back of you, like, man, that's supposed to be me. I'm doing the same thing they doing. God ain't gonna bless you by you just hating on somebody. So you gotta just find peace within yourself and get close with him and just trust the process. Don't just try to like, why isn't my followers going up this and this? Like, I don't care if my followers never go up. Like, I'ma still try. I mean, so it's like that's just something I want to do. Like, if this podcast never blew up, for example, like, I'm not going to be mad at everybody else who has podcasts. Like, oh, I'm doing the same thing they're doing. I'm like, well, maybe the engagement just was in their favor, and I'm happy for them. But it's like we have to stop thinking of why this didn't happen because I'm doing the same thing, and just worry about yourself and cheer on other people along the way.
Damn, I'm still stuck on what you said. You said don't be mad because somebody else got it before you. If there's nothing else I've seen, it's that level of envy is poisonous, bro. I swear. But shoot, that was a jump. That was a bar. So everybody need to rewind that, clip that, and share that to anybody who you see with hate in the heart. Just elixir that out. Don't be mad at somebody because they got it before you. And your time will come as long as you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Always.
All right, man. Let's wrap this up, man. What a journey it's been and what a season. But shoot, hey, 100 episodes, bro. That's crazy.
Look, he got me. Dang, I'm not gonna be here next Sunday. I'm gotta. So,
Right.
dang, that's crazy. This is definitely was an experience. Definitely something I'm not gonna ever forget about. I'm gonna always have that in my files of memories. So, all they can do is, like I said, my favorite motivational speaker is Will Smith. Lay each brick as perfectly as you can, each brick at a time. And soon you will have a house. Don't just look at trying to get the house just lay it brick by brick. So that's what we're doing over here.
Most definitely. Well, hey, to the family, to all the people listening to us, to all the people who tune in who support, we appreciate y'all from the bottom of our hearts. And we got more coming. This ain't goodbye. We're just gonna see y'all in a few. But hey, continue to support us, to continue to share us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell whomever you know who listens to us to subscribe. Help build us in the algorithm. Keep building the audience. Keep building the family up. And tap in with us on Instagram. Tap in with us on Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Tap in with us on Twitter. We're gonna be there, and we're gonna keep on expanding. We're gonna keep on growing. And until next season, hey, this is Mike Obi, your host. Hey, much appreciation, much love.
Boy, it's your boy London Ogletree. Just want to say we'll be back. So I'm out.
All right, much love.
Feet on the ground with a proof you wrong mindset. I'd rather go out on my sword than have my mind tapped. The ones with eyes can never see, I make the blind clap. I'm bringing back that type of sound that once defined rap. Divine rap, homie.